Got two.
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Joined alongside Tim in Green Bay. We got Jacob in Wisconsin. We got Emilio in Tennessee. So we got the dynamic duo on the bottom back together again. Excited to get in here and talk some Packers this evening. We got an awesome show for y'all. It's Bengals week. Excited to see the Packers back at Lambeau Field and try to get this ship pointed in the right direction. Obviously, coming off of that very, very strange tie down in Jerry World. But we're going to talk a little Packers-Bengals preview. We've also got a trade update, breaking news there that's going to impact this game against the Bengals. And then also we're going to dive into on the back side of the show here, the rookie PFF grades. People have been asking for this over in the Patreon group, and people have been messaging me. So what we've done, Emilio took the notion the last couple of days to add the PFF grades to our draft board. And to keep in mind, this is just through 4 weeks. I changed a couple of them with the week 5 grade that I just happened to come across while I was putting some other info in. So again, it's still early, but it's nice to kind of take a look and see where did our draft board line up? How are these players playing? I think you guys will be really surprised at some of the guys that had a grade of 100 or less, or 100 or more, I should say, which you guys know low number wins on our board. They're the ones grading out the best, which is really cool. So there's always gems to be had out there in the draft for sure. But before we do all that, if you would, let's get that YouTube stuff out of the way. Hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Thank you for making us a part of your evening. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We are fans just like you, talking Packers on the daily. So if you're looking for pregame shows, postgame shows, film breakdown, and then, info leading up to the current game that week, you're in the right place. So just make sure you hit subscribe and click that bell icon so you're notified every time we do go live here in the future. Gents, how we doing tonight, boys?
Ready to go. Full house tonight. Got the boys back. What's up?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Glad to be back, man. Absolutely. Missed it. Y'all crushed it though while I was gone, for sure.
Jacob?
I'm good. Getting over a little stomach bug. So if you guys see me the chair spinning, you'll know why. All right.
Jacob said you should see her. So, all right, let's jump into it here. All right, let's get into a little breaking news here. We'll call it breaking. Adam Schefter tweeted out trade. The Browns are trading quarterback Joe Flacco and a 6th-round pick to the Bengals for a 5th-round pick. I know a lot of people in Packer world went, "Oh crap!" If you did not see Ty Schmidt's reaction to this on the McAfee show, it was absolutely hilarious. People have convinced themselves that Joe Flacco was the reason they won that ball game. I don't know how you get to that point, but I still think it's very, very comical and very entertaining. So let's go around the horn with it. Are we concerned that Joe Flacco, it sounds like, too, all signs are pointing to him starting this Sunday as well. And you guys correct me if I'm wrong, Tim, that's a 3:25 Central kickoff, right? Am I thinking right, sir?
Yeah, 3:25 on CBS against the Bengals. And, yeah, I would anticipate Mr. Joe Flacco will probably be your starting quarterback come Sunday, unless they decide to go with Dylan Gabriel, but I doubt it. Obviously, everybody moves up a step on the depth chart, right? Because they didn't acquire anyone else other than Mr. Flacco. So who knows? But I would think, an OG vet like that, journeyman, they brought him in to play football. Clearly they traded so he could start. So I would anticipate Joe Flacco playing on Sunday.
Yeah. And Tim, you did the same thing I did earlier. I still think he plays for the Browns. You mentioned Dylan Gabriel. Obviously, you mean Sean Clifford. I
meant Sean Clifford. Yep, Browns. Absolutely.
I did it earlier. I was going, yeah, they got Quinshon Judkins and this and that. Wait a minute. No, am I living in a damn dream? We just played that game. So
exactly.
It's so
easy
strange.
move for Flacco, though, right? Just a little move, across the state a little bit, one Ohio team to another.
It's so strange, though, Amelia. Like, I don't remember this ever happening in a season. I know it definitely has never happened to the Packers. Do you ever recall you playing the Packers playing, or any team playing a quarterback, and then 3 weeks later, hell, just say any point during the rest of the season, that quarterback gets traded to a team that's on their schedule and they end up playing them again? That's some serious online franchise stuff on that.
Yeah, I was just going to say that's some moving some players around there, but week 7. But the only other person that would make me think would be Baker, but I don't even think it was the same sort of like team that they would have played. So no, I haven't. And you probably could just put some stripes on his helmet and call it a day and say he's dressed up for the Bengals. But it was Bucky and DJ. They were joking. They go, "What's the news report going to be? Is it going to be that Joe Flacco was traded to Cincinnati, or was it going to be that Shedeur Sanders moved up the depth chart?" And they were cracking up about it. But I'm not mad that we're facing Flacco again. The Bengals have kept their playbook are basically the same. They're still trying to run it like Burrow's back there, and he's not, right? So that's why you got dude throwing 3 picks this past game, and you're going out looking for a veteran. Flacco's just making money, man, in his 40s. What a guy.
Yeah, seriously, man. I know people like to poke fun at it and this and that, but Jacob, he's living the dream, man. He's just bouncing around different teams, playing ball, getting to actually start is what's wild. And like Emilio said, I feel like Dylan Gabriel showed enough there on Sunday that, hey, he is the guy moving forward. So obviously Shedeur will be the backup, and now you can kind of get those guys the reps that they need. Obviously Dylan Gabriel getting the first crack at it. What do you think about this, Jacob? It's a little strange.
It's definitely strange. Like Joseph was saying, it's got to be super rare. My friends make fun of me all the time about it. I am a giant Joe Flacco fan. I always have been. If you ever look up some of this story and just kind of what it took for him to get to where he's at now, just really, really like the guy. That being said, he is about 56 years old and behind an offensive line now that it's really struggling. Obviously, I think he's got an upgrade at some wide receiver weapons, but being with Mr. T. Higgs and Jamar, obviously, so maybe he can just chuck it up there a little bit and just kind of rely on that. I saw Coach in the chat was saying that he's not worried because he's got to learn a new offense in a week. If anybody could do it, it'd be a guy that's a freaking 27-year vet or whatever the hell he is. So I'm sure that they're going to probably dumb down the playbook a little bit. But I am still one of those people that think that he could still be dangerous. I mean, I don't think that he was the reason that we lost that game, obviously, but I think that at this point in his career, he's a field manager, game manager, and that's really all you need to do sometimes to win a game. So I'm not going to take it for granted and think that we got this one on the bag.
Right. And I do think that he will protect the football better than Browning. Obviously, Browning, it looked like an early Christmas last week. He's just giving that thing out to everybody on the defense. So I think Flacco will play better in that regard. And if you're worried, well, can he learn the offense that quick? This is a very, very similar system in Cincinnati. Obviously, you got Zach Taylor, and he just left, was it Stefanski, right? If I remember correctly, they are all from the Shanahan-McVay tree, if I remember right, because obviously Stefanski got started in Minnesota years ago, if I remember that right, and he ended up in Cleveland. So you guys fact check me on that and put it in the comments if I got that wrong. But I'm pretty sure it's a very similar system, probably a little bit different terminology. But again, he's not going to fit better in this system than he did in Cleveland. There's still going to be a little bit of a learning curve in terms of the terminology and getting on the same page with these other players. But one thing is for sure, Cincinnati's got a lot better receivers than Cleveland does. I think we would all agree there. So let's dive into it, man. A little early preview of the game. You guys know how we roll here. We like to start with the betting line first and kind of see what Vegas sees here. So as it currently sits, PFF has it at 12.7 point favorites for the Green Bay Packers. And the market.
Did you say 12? What did you say?
12.7 point favorites.
BTA. Know what I'm saying?
That's according to PFF. Thank you for finishing that, Tim. The market itself, the actual market, gambling market, has it at 14.5 point favorites for the Packers. So, guys, that's a big number. You guys know me all too well. If this wasn't the Packers, I'd be taking that plus 14.5. I just too many of these games you see, they're supposed to be a blowout, and they end up being at least within a touchdown score. And again, like Jacob said, any given Sunday, anything can happen. So let's kind of look at the point spread we already kind of hit on. Let's talk about where the money's at. 54% of the money is on the Bengals at plus 14.5. I like that. And 52% of the tickets are on the Bengals plus 14.5. When you go to the money line, it's 91% of the money is on Green Bay, and 96% of the tickets are on Green Bay. That market is wild too at a minus 1206. So that's how the point spread sits. Let's go around the horn with that real quick. What do y'all think about that? I'll start with you, Emilio. That's a lot of points. Am I right?
That is a lot of points. And I don't know, to cover that 14.5, that's a stretch. But hey, if we put up a 40 burger last week, maybe the offense, gets something humming and they can turn it around. I would say, it'd probably put us at around 27, 28 or something like that just to start, and then, go from there. But I don't know. That's a big number. What do you think, Jacob?
Yeah, that's a little too wide of a gap. I mean, I can't remember what the spread was for the Dallas game. I remember thinking that's a little too large as well, and I
I want
kind
to say it
of
was around 7, wasn't it, Jake?
I,
Six
I
and a half or
I
7,
thought it
something.
was, yeah, even 7 or 8 or something like that, and I didn't feel quite great about that. 14.5. I mean, that's kind of crazy. Like Ron's saying here, that makes me a little nervous. It's kind of the same feeling I get when you watch the pregame show and everyone picks the Packers. I remember my
Hate it.
dad used to always say, "God dang it!" Like he would every time, I don't want this. I don't want them, because then they get in their own head. However, I am very confident that it seems like that this year the Packers tend to just play better at home. And obviously, we got this one at Lambeau, so I'm a little more confident that they're going to come out with the piss hot. So maybe we are going to, hit that double-digit lead there. I hope we do.
Yeah, Tim, that would be the perfect way to kind of get this thing back on track, right? Go out there and have just a dominant performance against a banged up Bengals team. However, man, when you got Jamar Chase and T. Higgins on one side of the field, you've also got Trey Hendrickson that, Lord forbid, you find yourself in a close game. He can change the outcome of a game real quick, getting pressure in the quarterback's face, especially if you're just bringing 4 and you're only got 5 in for protection if you're the Packers. So I don't know. What do you think about that spread before we dive into some of these other numbers, man?
Yeah, this is going to be a defensive game, I think, for this team. We got to win coming out of the bye, man. We have to. I think if we put 40 points on the board, we win this game. It's going to, come down to how our defense plays, bottom line. I'm not big on the point spreads. This is all might as well be Japanese to me. I just hope we get a dub, man. I don't care if we win by a point.
Got it. All right. Brooke in the chat says, as soon as all 9 of the talking heads picked us before the Cowboys game, I got a bad feeling that came true. Yeah, I seen it too, Brooke. It was like, man, I just turned away. I turned away from the screen. Wait, I got to go in there and wash the dishes. I got to find something. Like, me no likey this, Jan. So, all right, let's look at some of the other numbers. Power ranking overall, according to PFF, the Packers are 5th in the league. The Bengals are 27th. Power ranking on defense, the Packers are sitting 12th. The Bengals are 28th. Power ranking on offense, the Packers are 5th. The Bengals are 31st. It's funny, too. They get us 5th, and I'm seeing some people pretend like Matt LaFleur all of a sudden is a horrible coach and doesn't know how to call an offense. Well, that works. And in strength of schedule played so far, the Packers have only played the 22nd toughest schedule. The Bengals have played the 19th. According to this. All right. Now, average offensive snaps, the Packers are sitting at 68.8. The Bengals have had 59.2. Percentage of runs, the Packers are at 44.5% run. That's 55.5% pass. And obviously, the Bengals playing from behind most, if not all of these games, their passing percentage is at 68.6%. So that kind of goes without saying. In terms of EPA per run, the Packers are at minus 0.10. The Bengals are at minus 0.18. And then EPA per pass is the big thing. I think Jordan Love is still leading the National Football League amongst quarterbacks in EPA per dropback. Their EPA per pass is a positive 0.31, and the Bengals are at a negative 0.21. Obviously, that's before Joe Flacco coming in. What do y'all think about those rankings? I'll start with you this time, Jacob. They got the Packers 5th overall, 12th in defense, 5th in offense. Do you feel like those are fair? Is there anything there you disagree with?
I think that's more than fair. And like you said earlier, I think that people need to get the disrespect of Matt LaFleur out of their freaking mouth. It's becoming to a point where I can't even go on social media, especially Facebook freaking groups, man. Stuff that
Facebook's the worst, bro.
It's really bad. And I guess I don't know when the fan base, it seems like over the last 10 years, at some point, there just became a faction of the fan base that just, I mean, they'd complain if they were hung with an old rope. You know what I mean? Like everything is pessimistic. Everything is doom and gloom. Everybody's got to get fired. I mean, the one thing that I'll lean into, and that I think I disagree probably with you, Clayton. I do kind of hold like Bisaccia a little more feet to the fire, but the whole talk about the Matt LaFleur thing is so aggravating to me that I can't put it into words. I mean, the guy is like a top 10 winningest coach of all time. He's done nothing but absolutely make a smooth transition from the Hall of Fame quarterback to a guy that everybody thought was an absolute draft bust and a reach. Absolutely it's catapulted him into a great career. You look at, like we just talked about, some of the numbers that Love is putting up this year. For the offense to be ranked 5th overall, I'm totally fine with that. I think that the defense being ranked 12th, you could probably chalk that up to a few drives, and we'd probably be in the top 10. And I really do think that if we can get back to being the type of swarming and overall defense that we started with those first 2 games, this team is going to be on the rebound. And I think that those numbers and rankings even improve.
Yeah. Go ahead, Tim. What do you think about it, man?
Yeah, I would agree with what Jacob's saying here. I mean, feels good to be 5th overall, in the power rankings and things like that. But, 12th ranked defense, I'd like to see us step up. And this is a great opportunity coming out of the bye week. Hopefully we get a couple of guys back and we're ready to go on Sunday. But I really believe this game is going to come down to how our defense plays, honestly. And, we know what it takes to get in Lombardi, right? You got to have at least be in the top 10 conversation, both sides of the ball. And I think realistically the Packers are still a little early in the season, but coming out of the bye at home, you got to get it done, man.
Real quick, Amelia, what do you think about Joe's comment saying Parsons better get a hold of Flacco? I don't know if y'all realize how bad the Bengals O-line is. The Texans were getting home rushing 3. Mm-hmm. 3, he says.
Yeah, we said the same thing about the Cleveland game.
Right? I know. Yeah. So correct me if I'm wrong, guys, in the chat or Amelia, because I believe Parsons says that he had never gotten a sack on Flacco. So now he's got a shot again to get him. And you think that he's going to take that lightly?
Jacob, that's a great point, because I know that it was one of those where you could mount the head on the wall kind of thing. I think they considered the Dak one a sack, right? That he tripped him up. So he was able to get his ex-quarterback. There's only one quarterback starting left that he needs, and you get another shot at him this same exact season. A couple weeks later, somehow, some way, I think he takes advantage of it. I think that it's going to be, like Tim was saying, big on our defense this week. And it's more of those things like, all right, on the bye week, what would we want to see happen, or what are we expecting? One thing that you could pick to get better. I mean, I would almost say if the defense could force turnovers, that would start pushing this season, over that hump and in the right direction. But they come in bunches. It's like lacrosse. It's a game of runs. You're going to get someone that scores 3 goals in a row, and then you got to come back and answer. So I think that we can get that. But, you could say, hey, do you want the special teams to be fixed, defense to be better, offense to be better? I think turnovers is one thing that we need if we're going to make a deep run. Somehow they just got to fall for us. We need to, hit the luck jackpot or something, but we need a couple more of those to get this defense really cranking.
That's a great point, because that's what was stressed, throughout training camp, right? We talked about ball king and stressing the takeaways, and we just really haven't seen it up to this point.
You get a takeaway. What's that do? It helps Jordan Love. That helps the offense. They get another chance. It's like one hand. They both are going to help each other if we can start turning that ball over. But we can't force it, right? Can't take dumb penalties. Can't put yourself in a bad spot. But let's see if we can't get a couple.
Yeah. Ron Sample says, what happens to the Jordan critics if he throws the INT that Mahomes threw last night? I'll tell you this, man. Mahomes, obviously the Super Bowl rings help, but, man, he could play absolute cheeks out there. And people they'll still give him a pass. You know what I mean? It's just it's absolutely wild to me that they continue to. And what's crazy is it was like 3 or 4 years ago, Michael Lombardi on the GM Shuffle talked about how Pat Mahomes was not playing good football. And this is when they were winning Super Bowl. He's like, that defense is carrying them. And it was like, oh, how dare you? Look at this idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And sure enough, man, you look at the numbers, you truly break it down and what the Chiefs were doing to win Super Bowls. It was that defense. It was Spags. It was them playing aggressive up front, and Chris Jones and everybody in between. It really had very little to do with Mahomes other than, hey, Kelsey, go out there and run a choice route and I'll hit you. That was basically it constantly. So that game last night was wild to watch. So was Jacksonville. Jacksonville looks legit, man. They've got a little bit of team unity, and as much fun as we made as we made of their head coach center, Liam Cohen, with the Duval. He's got them boys playing, man. You know what it feels like? It feels like Nick Sirianni. Everybody made fun of Nick Sirianni and how he acted in pressers and everything. Yeah. One thing about it, they're authentic. And when you're an authentic person, people will follow you. If they get a little sniff that you're being a fraud, they won't listen to a damn thing you got to say.
Clayton, did you see that play? Obviously, I'm sure you did, though, where Trevor fell down. Did you see Chris Jones on that play? He's
Smoked.
getting raked across the court, smoked, and then also just kind of just gave up. Didn't even care to even
Finish the
jog.
play, is that right?
Yeah, he just kind of walked away and watched him get up, and he's like, that was a tough look, man.
That's got to be the most frustrating thing, right? I mean, the quarterback trips over his own guy, then he stumbles, getting up in the backfield. How on earth do you let him score a touchdown there? It's terrible.
I think it's a great point because we always talk about, I've heard Ryan talk about it, I know Clayton's talked about it, how we as Packer fans see the NFL through a lens, specifically as Packer fans, and we think that no other teams have, adversity and dumb bonehead plays. When I saw that, I went, God, that feels like a pack. Like, it just felt like I could see that happening to the Packers. You know what I mean? And just,
Sure.
you got to fire everybody. It's just, it happens. Sometimes you just have really crazy, spins and twists in games. It's crazy.
Yeah. It doesn't always look pretty, but Fabio's playing good ball so far this year down there.
And what else helps, Tim, is those turnovers. They're leading the league in turnovers with 8.
Big thing.
Fabio, a couple extra chances. He can make something happen.
Hey, big shout out to Anthony Campanelli, our former linebacker.
That's right, dude.
Who's the DC down there, doing a great job.
Kind of made you think, did he have a little more to do with the turnovers than maybe we understood, right? And, the linebackers, the big knock on them in Dallas where they were covering grass in those spot drops as opposed to picking up guys and playing aggressive underneath. Maybe we're starting to see a little bit of that lack of Campanelli effect. Could be. Now, the defense, I think, is in good shape, just like I think the offense is fine, man. Again, this whole idea that how do you lose to the Browns? I'll tell you how you lose to the Browns. Guys, they go out, they've got a solid defense, right? And you found yourself in a close game. It was a one-possession game, basically the entire game. And when it comes down to that, you're looking at the middle 8 and you're looking at just one or two plays that can sway that game in either direction. And for all the people that said Matt LaFleur is being too conservative, him being too aggressive is why we lost to the Browns. There's no one who's going to convince me otherwise. That 3rd and short going into the 4th quarter, let the clock run down and just run the ball, punt it, and make them – actually, the 3rd and short play, the 3rd and 3 play, that was with 3 minutes left in the game. Forget the last play of the 3rd quarter. You can fast forward all the way to 3 minutes left, and it's funny how the people who say Matt LaFleur isn't aggressive enough, they didn't mention a damn thing about us passing incomplete, stopping the clock. There were 3 minutes left and not forcing them to use their last timeout and then punting at the distance. Instead, we're aggressive. We throw a pick. The shift then goes from, okay, damn, I'm not going to mention that Matt LaFleur is conservative. I'm just going to jump on the Jordan Love is a horrible quarterback train now. So it's just constant.
Don't worry, nobody's listening anyway.
So again, man, if you see it, you got to say it. In that case right there, it was on both of them. Matt LaFleur was too aggressive in that situation, and then Jordan Love cannot throw that pass. He's got to take a peek inside and make sure there are no rat defenders underneath that's going to poach that thing. You got to know that. So before you let that ball go and take a sack and be willing to punt it away. I'm trying to think. There was a game I watched. It might have been a part of I think it was last night. Trevor Lawrence right before halftime. Right when he realized he dropped back to pass and they were trying to get something going there with less than 30 seconds left, he realized it ain't worth it to throw it down there and maybe get a strip sack or whatever. He just laid down, took the sack. What ended up happening? They end up winning the game by 3 points, right? If you get too aggressive there and you get a strip sack in that situation, or God forbid you throw a pick and they get a 20-yard return, kick a field goal, now Kansas City ends up winning the game by 3 points.
You do that, you're going to get your ass kicked. And
that's correct.
I'd argue, too, that our penalties were sloppy that game as well.
Mm-hmm.
If we can clean that up and be a little more disciplined, I think that, much better chance of winning that game and future games.
Definitely. All right, let's look at the quarterback matchup. Joe Flacco, 60.2. Passer rating when clean, 78.5. Passer rating under pressure, 31.5. Okay, his power rating rank, he's the 23rd best quarterback in the league according to PFF in terms of the power rating rank. Jordan Love is sitting 6th. His PFF grade, 82.6. Look at that passer rating when clean, Emilio. My man is picking the defense apart when the offense is blocking. 140.3. The passer rating under pressure, still better than Joe Flacco, but obviously dipped quite a bit there at 48.8. Big-time throw percentage. He's almost tripled Joe Flacco in big-time throw percentage at 6.12%.
I put the team on my back, dude.
So that's all he does, man. Absolutely. And 140 is unbelievable. Keep him clean. Let's get it going. That's why we're trying to build the wall. We got a bunch of, moving parts there. Hopefully people get back healthy and that can kind of turn around for us. But we're home, so we don't have to worry about the snap count. We don't have to worry about looking between the legs. Like, our timing's going to be better. We'll be able to use those motion, get to your spot, your keys and all that stuff. I think Jordan has a chance to have a real good game this week. And, you don't need to outplay. I mean, yeah, you can play better than Flacco, but you don't need to sit there and say, I'm going to outplay him. Like, dude, it's just going to come. I think it's just going to happen. You don't need to force anything. Take what's there. And I think you going through those things, we've a couple of those where Rodgers had some, hey, you learned at the end of the season about how this loss happened and one thing you can do there. And, Jordan Love threw that pick over the middle against San Fran, right? So you'll have those things where it kind of burned in the back of your head. I think trying to double up against the Cowboys or worried that they would double up, get points, kick it, and then you're kicking into them at half, and they go down and score again. Maybe that's not as big of an issue, and like Clay was saying, just take your time, take your sack, work the clock, and you only have 60 minutes, so let's not waste it.
Yeah, I love what Ron Sample says here. As a Packers owner, I didn't realize I could get a $250,000 fine for flipping Bears fans the bird. Did you guys see Jerry Jones flip the bird, by the way? You didn't see that? Yeah, he flipped the bird at a fan from the upper deck. Somebody got it on camera. It's awesome. He looks at somebody and he looks at the other guy and just throws the bird up. Dude. It was absolutely.
Did he actually get fined too?
Oh yeah, I don't know if it was $250, but I heard it was a significant fine. So.
Chump change to Jerry. That's chump change.
Yeah. Jerry said, "Hey, let me go dig that out of the cushion."
Yeah.
So you take a check or you want cash? That's what he said.
There's 4 mason jars out back, and we just dig them up real quick.
All right, you can tell Emilio we've got him accustomed to the South now. New York is no longer a part of his history.
Yeah.
We're burying money in the backyard in Mason. My favorite country line. I can't remember what song it was. Those city folks were drinking out of mason jars, man.
Yeah, it's over by it's the third oak tree down at the end of the property. You know what I mean? Make sure you don't go to the fourth one.
Don't say it out loud, man. Don't tell everyone.
See, you don't understand how he operates down here in the South, Tim. That's a booby trap. He just sets you up.
Okay. Got it. It's
all
in
right.
the tree behind that one. Exactly.
Right. Jen Wright said Alabama. Was it Alabama that sang that? I think she might be right. Good stuff. I love it. United Bates says it was $250K apparently. Wow. Jeez, wow. So that is confirmed. Oh yeah, it was $250. Ron says. So anyway, if you guys are watching this video back later, and in terms of the Packers, Bengals, about to have Browns again. The Packers and the Browns West. I don't know which one's further east or west. Cincinnati, Cleveland, right. I think it'd be Browns West. So let us know in the comments what you think. Do you think the Packers should be 14.5-point favorites? Do you think Joe Flacco is not going to have the success that he had there against the Packers in the first case? And will Micah Parsons get that ever-evading sack on Joe Flacco as well? Make sure you hit subscribe and click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live here in the future. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. All right, let's move along, guys. I'm excited about this topic here. First of all, shout out to Emilio. Thank you for putting this together, man. You did an awesome job. So anyone who's a member of our Patreon group, patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access, you have access to our draft board, our draft coverage leading up to the draft in Green Bay this year. All along the way, as we were building the board, Emilio was making this available to everyone in the Patreon group. It's just another perk of being a member of the Patreon group. Again, patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. $3 get you access to everything, all the articles, the extra content, the draft board link, the chats. It also gets you entered into the giveaways. We're going to be giving away an autographed Marshawn Lloyd rookie card this weekend coming up. It's going to be a part of that. We'll put everybody's name on the wheel and spin that sucker. So what we've done here in the Patreon group, somebody had asked us, hey, why don't you see how these players are doing that were on the draft board, right? Like, let's see how these rookies are actually playing out this year, how they're panning out. So what we've got right now is it's sorted by our final PTA draft board grade, low number wins, right? So you see like Ashton Gianti, right? Minus 1.2. That's the highest graded player on our draft board. Next was Abdul Carter. Next was Travis Hunter. Then Mason Graham, Ted McMillan, on and on, right? So what we've done now, Emilio has added the PFF grades so far this year. Again, this is just through 4 weeks. A couple of them might be the 5th week added as well, but it's still the grade's not going to vary too much from what we originally had in. So let's just talk about the top 10 players on the draft board this year and what they're grading out. Ashton Gianti, 68.2. Abdul Carter, 73.4. Travis Hunter, 60.6. That does include the game last night, so we improved a little bit. Mason Graham out of Cleveland, 57.2. Tet McMillan, 75.1. Do you guys remember we were showing on our board he is hands down the best receiver in this draft other than Travis Hunter? We didn't know if he's going to play corner or wide receiver. And Tim, coming down the stretch, all of a sudden they came out of the woodwork. This guy don't like to watch film. They had a tape on him from his freshman year in college saying he didn't like to watch film. All of a sudden he's a bad locker room guy. He doesn't love ball. He likes volleyball more than football, blah, 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 blah. And we're going, what the hell happened, man? Greg Cosell absolutely loved him, right?
Yep.
I remember Dane Brugler had him at number 7 on his big board. And then we had him finish in the 6th spot, or really the 5th spot on our board, top 5. And all of a sudden he starts dropping on draft boards. So this is no surprise to me that Tet McMillan is starting off as strong as he is. The big thing that sticks out in the top 5, though, Tim, I want to get your take. Abdul Carter, 73.4, and Tet McMillan, 75.1. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think anyone who saw tape on Tet McMillan knew he was pro ready, right? So I think a lot of the talk was just gamesmanship, trying to get his draft stock to plummet. Teams are probably trying to line up and snag him. And at this point of the season, he's teetering right near that top 5, as far as our draft board goes. And then, Abdul Carter, that was a guy that we looked at, from Penn State. I didn't anticipate to see him this close to the top right now, but damn good player. And then obviously Travis Hunter, man, what can you say about that guy? I remember being kind of pessimistic about him playing both sides of the ball with any regularity, and he's been doing it, man. And he's been doing it at a high level. So you got to tip your cap for sure.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Emilio. I want to get your and Jacob's take on these top 5 here.
And I want to say that Travis Hunter, that was his as a wide receiver grade. I'm pretty sure. I don't think it's pulling I don't think they have him pulling as a corner. But yeah, that's as a top 5, Mason Graham, I think he's coming along. We saw a little bit of that against Cleveland. But T-Mac he was a dog, man. Big body, big frame. You can't teach that. So get him the ball, and just Ashton Genty would probably be tearing it up if he just had a little bit more to work with over there in Vegas. It's just why Jacobs had to get out, right? It's that line can only hold up for so long, and Ashton Genty's got to do a lot of his own work. But the Giants could be scary with that front 4 too, with Abdul, man, and having Lawrence down there and all that. So really just a couple of dogs up at the top there. I'm kind of happy how it all landed.
Yeah, yep. Yeast from East in the chat over on Rumble says, are any of you guys in Wisconsin? We're all actually in Badgestan. Go ahead, Jacob. What do you think about the top 5 here?
I think this was a great exercise. Kudos to Emilio. Hate giving the guy even more credit than he deserves, but it's a great exercise. I think it's a great exercise for a number of reasons. 1, to kind of test the merit of our board and how that stacks up, and 2, to actually get a realistic look at these. I mean, a lot of these numbers don't necessarily pop off the page, other than maybe a couple that we'll talk about, I'm sure, here in the near future. It's just to take that with a grain of salt and realizing that, again, through the Packers lens, our own rookies coming in, and if they're in the mid 60s, even if they're in the high 50s, it's very par for the course, right? It's a little bit more of, I heard somebody in the chat asked, is Tet doing better than Egbuka? Even if you were to scroll down a little bit, he's just barely, he has a 75.3, does Egbuka, and Tet's at the 75.1. Both are really great scores for rookies. Clearly coming out and showing what those guys are going to be, I think, long pros and have a great career. Like to Emilio's point, I think Mason Graham is going to eventually come along. You've seen spurts of him on that D-line, and they've got a pretty good D-line over there. So even though he's got a quote unquote, lower grade, I think that he is performing pretty decently well. And then again, I think that Travis Hunter, once they kind of figure out how to use him a little more consistently and kind of he settles in, I think he's going to be a hell of a player.
Yeah. All right, moving along. And again, this is why we always talk about every year. If you grade out in the 60s, if you crack that 60 mark as a rookie, it's typically a good sign, a good indicator. All right, they're going to be a good pro. I think many people expect rookies to just come out and, all right, they're going to grade out in the 80s. Some do, but majority of the players, if you grade out in the 60s, all right, you're going to be fine unless you take a tremendous setback moving forward. Will Campbell in New England, 66.8. Then you had Cam Ward down there with the Titans. Now, listen, 56.7. Right? He was a top quarterback in the draft. This is what happens when you thrust a young guy like that in right into the starting lineup, right? And we know how bad that Titans roster is. This is kind of what Carolina did with Bryce Young, right? And I'm telling you, man, you are setting a guy up for failure if you expect him to go out there and stay. If you have a rookie go out there and start with a good team around him, you can still hurt their confidence because the game is moving so much faster. I mean, that's why we've seen Green Bay have so much success is, obviously, Jordan Love being able to sit behind Aaron Rodgers. And then before that, Aaron getting to sit behind Brett Favre. It's absolutely huge that you go that route. Next, you've got Mimbo, offensive tackle for the Jets. 73.
Always love Mimbo. I always love that man.
Yeah, and again, notice the Greg Cosell bonuses on these guys too. There's -5. That's good. It's in a good way, right? A 5-point bonus for Mimbo, 73.2. Tyler Warren out of Penn State. You guys remember everybody talking about, not everybody. There was some people talking about Colston Loveland was just going to be the best tight end in the draft. We caught a little bit of heat because we had Ty Warren out of Penn State above Colston Loveland. Well, Ty Warren out of Indianapolis, 72.7. Colston Loveland is a 56.1 out of Chicago right now. He's got minimal snaps, but still a 56.1. Also, Will Johnson, remember, he got dinged. What was it for? Was it the injury?
Injuries.
And he
Multiple injuries.
Didn't run the 40, right? He refused to run the 40. He's an 84.5. Now, keep in mind, he is injured again. Okay, so there's a minute amount of snaps. I think he only played a game or two, right, Emilio?
Right, but I'm pretty sure he was actually graded out as the best corner in the league. That number one next to him was he's graded out as the best corner in the NFL right now. He had 162 snaps on defense, and I mean, for where we were, remember, I mean, we were off on him. He fell to the second, didn't he? And bam, Arizona picks up a steal. I mean, the dude shows up. Being injured now sucks, right? But the fact that you graded out as the best corner, I mean, he's above Travarius Ward, Isaiah Rodgers, Jamal Dean. I mean, he's above everybody in the league. As a rookie, that's big. But also, you got to stay on the field.
Mm-hmm.
Emilio,
Right.
Yo,
the chat needs to know. It's the Titanic, right? It's at the end of the movie, and you got to save. It's
And
Travis Glover's in the water and Membo's in the water. Who are
Oh.
you pulling up and putting them on the bed, man? Who are you gonna let sink down to the
that's
ocean like
brutal.
Jack?
I don't like that you said putting him on the bed, man. That got a little.
If I needed to pull one up onto the broken door, Jacob, I would bring my boy Glover up there. I gotta have faith in my man. He's on the squad. I love Mimbo, but hey, do your thing over there with the Jets. Hopefully, you can start. Maybe he's the first foundation piece for their wall. But I'm gonna stick with Glover.
All right, next you got James Pierce Jr., 54.8. Kenneth Grant is probably the biggest bust in our top 20 here so far. And again, it's really, really early. He plays for Miami. 30.4 has been Kenneth Grant's grade so far. Now, keep in mind, we had talked about him being kind of a run stopper, but there were also people that watched the tape and said, hey, he can rush the passer too. It's early. He may be able to – I'm sure he will be able to turn that around. There's plenty of time to do that. But just wanted to mention Kenneth Grant struggling. Kelvin Banks, offensive tackle out of Texas, 60.5. Shamar Stewart, 69.6. So, again, remember Shamar Stewart we were all a little concerned about, right? We were scared the Packers were going to draft him. Now, he had that holdout issue, obviously. But 69.6 is a rookie. Pretty damn solid.
This week.
Yep.
You got to be ready for him.
Yep. Jahdae Barron, 66.9. I thought he was playing worse than that. People were talking like he was struggling this year, but a 66.9 as a rookie, pretty solid.
I like the way he looked. I saw the last game. I thought he was flashing around. Looked pretty good.
Now, Shedeur Sanders obviously hasn't played a snap yet or minimal snaps, if anything, during the regular season, right? And then Mike Green, remember Mike Green out of Marshall?
Mm-hmm.
He went to Baltimore, 41.2, so he's struggling. Walter Nolan got injured. I don't know if he's out for the year or not, but he hasn't played any games, if I remember correctly. And then, of course, you've got Emeka Egbuka. You guys remember we wrote several articles on Emeka Egbuka. I put an article together on March the 23rd and then another one on April the 7th when we had the top 30 visit talking about he was one of our favorite wide receivers, 75.3. His grade is actually higher than Tet McMillan's at a 75.1. So he's balling out in Tampa. Obviously, that's a huge, huge addition for Baker Mayfield down there with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Reggie with the super chat. Thank you, buddy. He says, if you guys could bring back any Packers player for a position coach, who would it be? I like TW38. That's Tramon Williams, all right?
Yep.
Nick Collins, 36, right? Jordy Nelson, 87, or Donald Driver, number 80. That's a great question, man.
I would want Clay Matthews, linebackers coach.
You think he'd be a good coach, Jacob?
I know he would, Clayton.
There you
I'm
go.
gonna
You heard it
take,
from a fan.
I'm going to take Al Harris for our DBs.
Nice.
And I'd also like Edgar Bennett back in the fold. You saw him at work last night with Jacksonville, receivers coach down there. I think those would be two picks for me.
Tim, what about Buckets Goldenberg?
Charles Buckets Goldenberg is no longer with us, so he can't coach.
Emilio, who would yours be, man?
Dude, that's a tough question.
Good question.
Yeah, I like Jacobs, Clay Matthews there.
No,
Maybe Donald Driver for the wide receiver crew. That wouldn't be bad, but
got a lot of people saying Wall in the chat.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I feel like I'd want some sort of O lineman.
I got mine. I know what mine would be.
I feel like of all the former players who haven't coached, I think Mike Wall would probably be the best candidate there.
And he's actually, when he used to come on the show, we would have conversations offline, and he actually coaches a multitude of players across the league. He just does personal coaching with them.
Mm-hmm.
So mine would be with this young secondary, get Charles Woodson out there.
Ooh,
Charles Woodson coaching up these DBs, man. I think that would be phenomenal for sure. So, all right, let's switch it up a minute here now. Let's sort by PFF grade. Let's see which players are performing the best here in terms of PFF grades. All right, at the top of the list, Noel Williams for Kansas City. You guys remember him, outside corner out of Cal. Yep. 92.3 is his PFF grade.
Dang.
Katan or Kitten, however you say it, Crawford, cornerback / slot corner out of Nevada, 91.6 for Arizona.
They have him playing safety a lot in Arizona, but yeah, he's it's only on 29 snaps. But hey, I'll take a 90 coverage right now in his grade for any day.
And we may see him in a couple of weeks when we go down to Arizona.
Right. Yep.
So, 90.7 for tight end out of Georgia Tech, Jackson Halls for Buffalo. I imagine that's probably a minute amount of snaps there.
Minute for sure.
Okay. 84.9 for, what'd y'all call this
Bill?
Guy? Bill Merritt, Bill Crosby. Out of Arizona, or he's out of Arizona, plays for Washington, an 84.9. We talked about Will Johnson being an 84.5, although he's hurt. Jahad Campbell, you guys remember we had him. We talked about him quite a bit leading up to the draft. Like, we would have been okay with if he's the best player available on the board, take him. Philly took him 83.8. That's what he's rating out. Nick Emenware, safety out of South Carolina. Seattle took him 83.3
on 43 snaps.
43 snaps. And then Jacob's boy, Cam Scatterboo.
I love Scatterboo.
81.3 for the Giants. He's laying people out blocking too, boys. It's been a fun bunch. Yeah.
He's a dog. So is Carson Schweisinger also. Yep. Absolutely.
Who was it? I think it was DJ. He goes, you know what Scatterboo reminds me of? It's like a Mike Allstott you left in the dryer a little too long. He kind of had me breaking up.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful. Terrence Ferguson, tight end out of Oregon, playing for Los Angeles. I'm assuming I don't know if it's the Rams or the Chargers, but 80.3. Then you got Jonas Sanker, I hardly know, or safety / slot out of Virginia, 78.3 for the Saints. Quinshon Judkins played a lot of snaps this year. He's damn good, boys. 77.8 there for Cleveland. How cool is that, too? Quinshon Judkins went to Ohio State, still playing in state for the Cleveland Browns, or the fan favorite Cleveland Browns. Pretty cool story there. And then you got Azare.
He's going to get plenty of carries this year, right?
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Azare Thomas, cornerback out of Florida State, 76.4 for the Jets. He's playing pretty well. And then out of Notre Dame, Xavier Watts, safety / slot in college, 76.3 for the Atlanta Falcons. Remember Jack Besh, Jacob? 75.8.
Senior Bowl MVP, baby.
Remember we talked about Kobe King a lot out of Penn State, right? 75.4 for Minnesota, unfortunately. And then, of course, we already talked about Ibuka being a 75.3. Pretty cool, man. You guys have the floor. I want to hear what you guys got to say about all this.
I just got to take a minute here. If I would have got – I like Besh. I think he's performed pretty well. But if you can barely see it's getting cut off, you guys remember I shouted out Isaac Tesla. And everybody thought I was a crazy old white guy. But I tell you what, that guy can play, man. I really do think he's going to be a good player in this league. It just sucks that he's went to Detroit for sure. But Tim, do you remember we were kind of high on Azare Thomas? We were kind of high on Jalen Smith as an underdog kind of guy. And as well as I think what was the first guy up there? Can you scroll up just a tidbit there, Clayton? Noel Williams. I know that all three of us, I think Clayton as well, we said that's a guy maybe take a look at. How many snaps does he have, Emilio, for that 92.3?
I don't believe it's a lot. Give me 2 seconds here. But pretty much all the DBs out of that came out of Cal this past year were they all really had performed well with, where they were drafted and stuff like that. You just see here.
What I like to do while you're looking that up, I love to see the PFF grade right next to where they were ranked. Like, look right here. Katan Crawford, I don't know how many snaps, but he was 201.6, which means he should be right around the 200th pick is his true value, right? Doesn't mean that he wouldn't be available. I mean, that's kind of, I don't want to say best case scenario, but that's a good way of looking at the board and going, okay, whatever the number is, that's what they're worthy of being picked at according to the board. And the fact that he's graded out a 91.6 and he could have been the 200th overall pick. And I don't know where he was taken. Maybe he was taken much further, much earlier, I should say.
Right.
But again, Bill Krosky Merritt, 169th too.
Yes, and for Noel Williams, that was 53 snaps. So, I mean,
pretty good little,
absolutely. And for Crawford, he was in the 12th ranking. I mean, he's around Jason Marshall, longer beam. So it's like you got a bunch of dudes just in that one little cluster, and it's like, all right, you found a breakout out of that, and that's basically what the draft is. What I like is how well some of these numbers are lining up and how not crazy high some of our final numbers are. Like, yeah, you have Crawford and stuff like that, and you'll have 100s, a couple here and there, but besides that, I mean, we're in pretty good shape the way we had some of our numbers on this board here.
Let's take a look. Let's take a look at the Packers players real quick that made the list here. Okay, at the top graded player for the Packers in terms of PFF as a rookie, Matthew Golden at a 60.9, and we had him with a 34 grade. Okay, so obviously worthy of about the 34th pick, somewhere around there. So based off our standards, he was a little bit of a reach. The Packers probably reached a little bit. Did Egbuka go before or after Matthew Golden? You guys
before,
remember?
I believe.
Before.
Okay,
yeah, he was off the board.
So not too bad there. Savion Williams, obviously we had a 91.1 on him. He ended up going in the third round, right? So we had it pretty much nabbed there, about the spot he needed to go. 57.7, he's on the cusp of breaking into that 60 mark we talked about. Baron Sorrell is sitting at a 53.9. We had him at 121.4 on the board. Anthony Belton grading out a 51 right now. We had him 109 on the big board. Obviously, that was the reach this year, right? The Packers took him in the second round, and we had him somewhere around the 100 mark, essentially, right? And then, of course, Nazir Stackhouse, everybody got all excited about him, because that big body, right? He was flashing in camp. 38.3 so far, guys. So far, that test has failed a little bit. Let's hope he can turn it around. But again, 167.2 on our board. We wasn't expecting much out of him. It's just when you seen him in camp, he kind of, lit the world on fire, so to speak. So what do y'all think about the Packers players? We'll get ready to wrap this thing up.
Yeah, I think with Savion, I think it's deployment, right? I'm sure he's going to crack that 60 grade any day now. I'd like to see him returning kicks a little bit more. Obviously, Baron Sorrell, injury bug, that kind of stymied his growth a little bit. Same thing with Escalade. And I think Nas Stackhouse is just going to be he's going to be a work in progress. He's a project guy. I think that was an insurance policy when we moved on from TJ Slayton, who we will be reunited with on Sunday afternoon at Lambeau. And obviously with Devontae Wyatt out, it makes sense that we, took a swing at, Big Nas Stackhouse out of Georgia. And we're still looking for some D tackles here going forward. But all in all, I feel pretty good about our draft picks at this point in the season. There's a lot of football left to be played.
Yeah, I like what Coach Lance says, Savion or Noel Williams in the third. I mean, imagine that if you'd have gotten Noel Williams in the third round. I don't even know where he was taken. Maybe he was drafted in the third round, but pretty wild to think about. Jaden Higgins, what's he grade now? I'm looking at him right there, 64.1. So, Tim, your boy Jaden Higgins starting off pretty strong. His teammate Jalen Noel as well, 57.1. He's on the cusp of breaking into the 60s there, so not horrible.
Yep. Those Iowa State receivers, man, it's crazy that they both ended up in Houston too.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, look at Detroit like the year ago, Clay. With the Tesla at a 74, you got Tate at a 66, and who's that? Meeks at a 60.
Texan Cheeks.
Right. And then I was going to say, scroll down to Indy down there a little bit. You have who's that at 72, and then
Ty Warren.
Ty Warren, Travis, Tumalau. So you're getting a lot of production out of these young draft year kind of guys that are helping these teams with their record. You know, you look at the Lions 4-1, Jacksonville 4-1. It's like, all right, you get a little bit coming out of those rookies. Hey, that's where you get a +1, or you gotta hit out of the park on that one. We'll take that if we can get that kind of production from a rookie. And then I know that's Jacob's boy down there tooting. He does a little tooting there.
I do a little tooting now and then
down there in Jacksonville. So he's
Sally.
too.
We were talking
name in my mouth right there.
we were talking pre-show about getting that drop. I do a little toot.
Yeah, a little tooting.
now and then.
You got to keep feeding that man the football. He got 60 snaps, I think. So we'll see how he does down there in Jacksonville.
Dead Fish did confirm Noel Williams, NFL Draft 2025, third round, 85th overall pick. So that's a solid pick there.
Chuck knows what we're talking about.
362 days out of the year. I'm fine.
Let's go to Chicago real quick and look. Luke Newman, we had a 189.6 on him, 69.7 grade.
Oh, I liked Luke Newman. I did like him.
Yeah, you did.
Luther Burden was another one. We actually had him 25.8 wide receiver out of Missouri. He's showing up pretty strong, 68.5 grade so far. And then you got Kyle Monanengai, running back out of Rutgers, 61.7. And then that's what we were talking about, Colston Loveland, 56.1. Obviously not living up to, we had him in the 13 mark. Greg Cosell liked him as well. So, yeah.
Can we see what Minnesota did?
They also got Ozzie Trapillo, PFF grade, though, a 47 as it sits right now. Chicago took Shamar Turner. You guys know he was a little bit versatile, if I remember correctly, mainly a 3-tech, 32.6 so far. Who'd you say, Minnesota, Jacob? Is that right?
Yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, I thought that they got a little bit of production there. Okay.
Yeah, they got Kobe King, linebacker, 75.4. Max Brosmer, quarterback, 72.3. Tyrion Ingram Dawkins, edge defender, 59.6. Donovan Jackson, interior offensive line out of Ohio State, 58.3. Ty Felton, wide receiver out of Maryland. I think we had a top 30 with him, didn't we? Yeah, I believe so.
Yes.
57.5. And then Joe Huber out of Wisconsin, a 42.9. And then Benjamin Urasek, tight end out of Georgia. Out of Georgia, a 39.6 was there. So, yeah. So there you go. Let's do one last thing. We'll wrap up. We got to get out of here. I'm going to sort one more time by just PFF grade here. And what I want to do is I want to see real quick if there's a team that pops up twice in these top grades. See if there's a team here. Arizona, right? So you got Will Johnson and Keaton Crawford.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying there? So you when you got a team that's got two in the top 5 graded players, albeit we don't know how many snaps right offhand, but it seemed like they had a pretty darn good draft there. I'm trying to see if there's another team that's mentioned twice there. You guys call it out.
Carolina, put that a little
Cleveland.
bit lower.
There's Cleveland, yep. Carson Swisinger and Quinshon Judkins, so they nailed those picks. Yep, Carolina, like you said, Jacob. Mitchell Evans tied in out of Notre Dame. Let's go. And then, of course, Ted McMillan, solid wide receiver there, 75.
They got Corey Thornton right there from Louisville.
Yep, there you go. Yeah,
the Jets aren't too bad. They're getting a little bit out of Mimbo and Azariah. So you get a couple of the guys there that are dudes, man. That's all you need to start a team, really.
Yep. All right. Anybody else you guys want to see before we wrap up?
You scroll down a little bit on this list. I think I saw one of my guys. Let's see where.
Ooh, there's Torrey Horton. Dude, I gotta just start drafting wide receivers, bro.
Yeah, you should just take over, Jacob.
I'm looking at my boy Omarion Hampton out of North Carolina that we talked about. What's he? Looks like he's over 60 right now on the PFF grade.
Yeah, I think he got hurt though.
Oh, of course.
I actually almost think they put him on IR if I'm remembering right. But yeah, he was starting to get hot, Tim. They were leaning on him a lot there in LA.
Yeah, look at Dylan Gabriel, man. 68 so far,
Yep.
So, oh, that's unfortunate.
Chris Casuan confirmed, Omarion to the IR. So, yeah. All right, there you go, guys. Again, we don't have time to cover all of them, but if you guys want to, just check it out in the Patreon group. You've got access to this. You'll notice in the chats, you'll see Patreon link is the title of one of the chats. You just click there, and we'll give you the updated link in there from time to time. And what I think we'll do, Emilio, is we went 4 weeks. We'll wait to the 8-week mark.
Yeah.
We'll do it again. And then when we get to about the 12 or 13 week mark, we'll do it again. And at the end of the season, we'll have all the PFF grades in there. And that's going to be awesome and moving forward, because if we keep this blueprint for the draft board coming up in the upcoming draft, then we'll be able to set this up moving forward, obviously, So
yeah, and if we want, we could even just keep these grades in there, hide that column, start another one for week 8, and then we could pop those, because I hid the 22 grades and stuff just to kind of make it all fit. So even if we wanted to kind of keep that moving, no, it looks good. And I was just looking out of the 500 we had on the sheet or whatever, filled out. We've got, there's almost 100 or 150 or so that have a PFF grade. So
yeah.
It really came together, man. That board is that's a good time.
It was fun, man. And again, with the color coding and everything, and you could kind of see the gold bar guys. Those are the ones that were heavy on the Packers radar, heavy. So it's kind of cool to see what they did. Remember Trey Amos? We talked about him a lot, right?
Yeah.
63.6.
He was 42nd ranked right there. That was that 42. I started to track those, but it was going to get out of hand. So,
right. Let's see. Josh Simmons was another one that was kind of a prime for the pick and for the Packers, 59.5. That wouldn't have been a bad pick, right? It's right there on the cusp of breaking in. Of course, we drafted Savion, and you had Ty Felton trying to take a quick.
Emilio, where's B Timmy 10 wants to ask, where's your boy Sean Dolock? Did you see he had a couple plays?
I know he's making some plays. We don't have a grade on him yet. But, trust me, that'll be the first one updated once I hear from it. But yeah,
I was surprised we didn't get in here and see a 99 PFF grade.
I should have just done it. Didn't even notice it.
All right, boys. You got anything else you want to hit on as we wrap up here? Anything at all?
Just want to hit on our monthly giveaway here for the month of October, operationhorsesheal.org/how can I help. Big shout out to everyone who's donated so far. Every single donation gets you entered for your chance to win that autographed Romeo Doubs jersey, courtesy of Packer Fan Total Access. You got to love it. But Operation Horses Heal is definitely a great organization, something that really is close to our hearts. Big shout out to Rachel and Rooster doing big things out there in Westboro, Wisconsin. It's really just about helping veterans, active duty, and their families on their own self-guided wellness journey. Equine therapy is definitely something that, we support here on this show, and we want you guys to support it too. So even if it's $1, $5, whatever you donate, every donation gets you a chance to win that autographed Romeo Doubs jersey coming up at the end of the month. So make sure you donate.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks to everybody who's already donated, and thanks to Tim for setting that up, bridging that gap for us, just a way for us to get back to the veterans that have given so much to us. So yeah,
that's definitely Mrs. G. That's all Mrs. G setting that up. I can't take all the credit. Big shout out to Kate.
Tim's like me, man. Anything good that's happening in life, you can typically go, yeah, she did it.
Yep.
He's the one who made that happen, not me.
Matter of fact, if you guys have any questions or concerns or anything, you can email Kate at Operation Horses Heal. She can walk you through that process. Make sure you guys use the code PTA when you're donating so we know who you are and we can get you entered on that prize wheel.
Yeah, and then look ahead to next month when I'll be donating to my cause, which is we got to cure rabies, guys. All right. Not a lot of people know that it's been cured. You gotta eat your you gotta eat your chicken Alfredo. You gotta put in the work, and sometimes
there's people that have never watched The Office going, what in the hell is this guy talking about, right?
For the cure.
There you go. All right, guys. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us. This was a lot of fun. Well, make sure you hit subscribe, hit that like button. Also, with those ratings, those PFF ratings with the draft board and everything, let us know in the comments what you think. Let us know if maybe PFF is being too generous to a player, maybe not generous enough, and let us know maybe how your mock draft looked. As I'll tell you this, man, it's going to be a blink of an eye, and we're going to be going, damn, season's over. We'll be right back into draft season again. It's going to happen quick. So,
yep.
But appreciate everybody hanging out tonight. If you would, like I said, hit that like, hit subscribe, click the bell icon so you're notified every time we do go live. We'll see y'all tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Central for PTA Live. We should have the first injury report. Hopefully we get good news there, and we'll continue to dive in. I'll go ahead and start to put together the game plan, which you'll be able to find on our Patreon group as well, and we'll cover it here on the show. We'll talk about putting together a successful game plan for attacking the Cincinnati Bengals, both on offense and defense. Everybody have a wonderful evening. We'll see you tomorrow. God bless.
Here we go.
We're out. Bye, guys.